did watch the play. Twitter says a lot of people saying it was dirty. She was like smiling after, whatever. You can say what you want about this. It didn't look dirty to me, just like a bang bang play under the rim. We're like in this heated midst of a discussion throughout the season that like WNBA refs like need to be better. The things have gotten chippy. People kind of bully the Fever.
Yeah.
I've been waiting. Feelings?
No, I don't, because I know Bria and I'm actually really good friends with Bria, and I have been waiting to get on the pod and so we could talk about this because I did want to tweet it out. But
did Bria Hartley really smirk after causing Sophie Cunningham's season-ending injury? Or are fans reading too much into it? That tiny facial expression has turned into one of the most polarizing debates in the WNBA this season.
Probably got multiple Sophie Cunningham videos coming to you guys today because the Show Me Something podcast came out. It should be noted, my mom's side of the family, my mom is from Missouri, actually. What I said, I didn't think it was an ACL. MCL's better. That's like a 4 or 5 month recovery. I would assume she'll be plenty back by the time we get to May of next year. So anyway, Sophie Cunningham's podcast came out, and once again, look, Sophie, you dropping news every time you do a podcast. Can you go to twice a week?
Was it an accident, a dirty play, or a statement? Today, we're breaking down exactly what happened in that moment, why the league is under fire, and what Cunningham herself had to say after the collision. The story isn't what you think. It's way more complicated than a single clip. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video.
She had her eyes set on one Sophie, the trophy Cunningham. Sophie, get well soon. Hopefully the MRI later today shows nothing too serious. Would love to see you back on the court. Dirty Bria, of course, it had to be a dirty Bria. I would really hate to see ya in a dark alley. Dirty Bria Hartley back at it again. Bria Hartley dives for Sophie Cunningham's knees, doesn't even try to avoid the collision, doesn't try to move out the way. Bria Hartley sees Sophie's legs and says,
millions of people froze their screens on one specific second of that game, pointing to Hartley's smirk and saying, there, that proves it. But is it really proof or just a bad look in the wrong situation? That single image turned into a wildfire on social media, with hashtags accusing her of being reckless or straight up dirty. It became less about the play itself and more about what people thought her face meant.
Bria Hartley is a dirty player. There's no other way to slice this cake. There's no other way to explain what we've seen from Bria Hartley so far this season. She was getting defended from the right side, pushing her left. She decides to fall straight forward with a little bit of shoulder action, falling into Sophie Cunningham's knees, grabbing Angel Reese's ponytail. What are we, in preschool? Body checking Skylar Diggins in the open court. What are we doing? Clawing at Rebecca Allen, leaving marks on her shoulder.
Which is wild when you think about how many things can flash across a player's face in the middle of chaos on the court. So let's go back to what actually happened. Cunningham had the ball, cutting across the lane when Hartley stepped into her path. Their legs tangled and the collision sent Cunningham crashing hard onto the hardwood. Replay slowed it all down. The knee-to-knee contact, the moment her leg twisted underneath her,
leaving blood dripping down from her hand. And now what do? Now you take a dive.
And the pain immediately flashing across her face before she even hit the ground fully. Trainers rushed out right away, surrounding Cunningham as the arena got quiet. For a second, it felt like everything around stopped. The sound of sneakers, the crowd, even the broadcast booth paused, waiting to see if she could get up. Then came the clip that people couldn't stop replaying. While Cunningham winced and clutched her leg, the camera cut to Hartley standing near midcourt. Fans swear you could see her smirk, almost like she was satisfied. That 3-second shot blew up instantly and had everyone convinced she meant to cause harm. Memes, slowed-down edits with circles around her face, and endless debates filled Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Some videos picked up millions of views in one day. It was no longer about a foul in a game. It looked like character assassination, all off that one expression. The frustration didn't come from nowhere either. Hartley has a track record that critics leaned on to prove their case. People remembered her previous ejections for hard fouls and the way she's built a reputation for playing physical to the extreme. The biggest flashback online was that heated game with Angel Reese, where Hartley grabbed Reese by the hair in a scramble and almost sparked a bench-clearing confrontation. Clips from that resurfaced, like evidence in a trial. See, this isn't new. Every play she'd ever been involved in that pushed the line was suddenly front and center again, and fans doubled down, calling her the dirtiest player in the league. But not everyone agreed. Some saw those plays differently. To them, Hartley is someone who goes full speed every possession and isn't afraid of contact. Her supporters argued that she's the type of player you hate to face but love to have on your own team. They said a smirk under pressure doesn't prove intent. It could just be a nervous tick, frustration, or even trying to mask guilt in the moment. What's strange is how polarized it became. Instead of people discussing a tough basketball collision, it turned into a debate about someone's character. Adding more heat, Sophie's sister Lindsay ripped into the officials afterward. She wasn't focused on Hartley. She blasted the referees for not protecting Sophie earlier in the game. In her view, players had been targeting Sophie all night, and the league let it go until it was too late. That shifted some blame off Hartley and onto the officiating crew. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about the player accused of being dirty, but about whether the WNBA itself was doing enough to stop injuries before they happened. Then Hartley made a move that only added fuel to the fire. She locked her social media accounts tight. To some, that looked like an admission of guilt, like she was hiding from the backlash. Fans pointed at it as proof she knew she crossed the line. To others, though, it was easy to see why. There were thousands of hateful comments battering her every hour, and walking away might have been the only sane option. Still, in today's world, disappearing online makes people suspicious. And just when the entire storyline painted Hartley as guilty, the person most affected, Sophie Cunningham, spoke out in a way nobody expected. She defended Hartley, saying she didn't believe it was intentional. Imagine that. The so-called victim telling everyone that the play wasn't dirty. It flipped the conversation right on its head. Because now, if Sophie herself says it wasn't malicious, then what does that mean about all the outrage? Suddenly, the focus wasn't just on Hartley's past or a single smirk. It raised a bigger, thornier question about how the league enforces player safety and where the responsibility really lies. What this moment really showed is how thin the line is in basketball. One player's hard challenge can look like gritty defense to some and a reckless cheap shot to others. The fallout here proves the league has a serious issue with consistency. Not just in punishments, but in how officials protect players before injuries even happen. So what's the answer? Harsher suspensions or real officiating reform that prevents these flashpoints altogether? That's the question I want to throw to you. Is Bria Hartley guilty of playing dirty or guilty of being cast as the villain in this narrative?